one of the prenatal educators here at Sydney Adventist Hospital. In this module, we'll be talking about establishing the roles within the family unit at home. A big problem that can often present after having a baby is who's going to do what at home, and factor in this newborn baby's needs as well. So I would recommend that you have some open communication now before the birth about how your day-to-day might look, and role reversal if it's going to take place and what that might look like. So factoring in the newborn baby's needs, you need a perspective of what that involves. So if you think about breastfeeding, a baby can feed every 2 to 3 hours initially, and a feed can take up to 1 hour. That could be 12 hours a day you're spending breastfeeding your baby. That's half a day of time spent breastfeeding a baby. And you still need to factor in time of normal showering, cleaning yourself, washing, folding, getting meals ready, having food for yourself, fitting in your own drinks, doing some exercise, doing the shopping, seeing people, and sleeping, okay? So all that needs to be factored into consideration. So you need to start thinking about possibly maybe a bit of role reversal. Someone else might need to take on the shopping duties. You might outsource to a mum or a mother-in-law to start with initially. In one of the other modules I spoke about how other family members or how friends and family can help, possibly bringing you a cooked meal, helping out in that department can really, really give you, it just takes off the burden initially in those early weeks when you're trying to find your feet in the parenthood journey. Trying to think about how feeding might work overnight. So once support person's back at work, there comes into play another factor. So the support person going to work also needs to get enough sleep to function, and the mum also needs to have enough sleep to obviously be able to function the next day with a newborn baby. So everyone's going to feel sleep deprived. It's just juggling how you're going to achieve everything without people getting upset and irritable with each other as you are sleep deprived and battling that out together. So one strategy which can often work, it might not work for every family, but breaking up the night time into shifts. So mums can struggle with repetitive sleep deprivation. So when it's literally a couple of hours that they're getting at a block, as opposed to a solid block of 4 to 6 hours sleep. So it might work for you guys to break up the evening shift. So mum might do the 7:30 p.m. feed and either put the baby down, or the support person can pop the baby down to sleep. And mum, if mum's organised enough and has already eaten and already showered, can actually jump into bed, say 8 o'clock. If the support person is then available to do 10:30, 11 o'clock feed at night time, and mum sleeps through, and then the support person after that 10:30, 11 o'clock feed can pop the baby back down to sleep after a nappy change and a burp, and then they jump into bed, the baby might not then wake, maybe 1:30, 2 o'clock, that 2 a.m. That might mean mum has slept from 8 p.m. right through till 1:30 or 2 a.m. and she's got about a 6-hour block of sleep up her belt. So that is a huge difference to waking up every 2 hours and doing every feed. So when I say the support person doing that 10:30, 11 o'clock feed, I'm talking about doing a feed of express breast milk. So the mum has expressed the breast milk and it's been stored, fridge or freezer. And so the support person is using the breast milk still, but it's enabling the mum to actually get a solid block of 6 hours sleep and not having that disturbed every 2 hours sleep, because doing that day in, day out, she will run out of steam and she won't be able to function literally as a human being. We all have sleep needs, and that's one way that the mum might be able to get enough sleep. Once the support person's done that 10:30, 11 o'clock feed, they jump into bed and then they can sleep through until it's time to get up for work. Might not work for you guys as a family unit, but it might be a strategy that could assist with trying to achieve everyone's sleeping needs. Daily chores is another area that you need to start thinking about and talking about prior to Bub's arrival into this world. So start writing lists down of what your normal day looks like, what your normal week looks like, and start jotting down all the normal daily mundane tasks. So washing, mopping, vacuuming, who's doing the toilets, who's doing the shopping, whether it be online or at the grocery store, the washing, the folding, making the beds, those sorts of things, and the cooking. Because when baby comes home, all those things still need to be achieved and done, but now you've got a newborn baby. And as I just discussed with feeding, mum could basically be breastfeeding 10, 12 hours a day, okay? So there's that 12 hours gone. So out of a 24-hour time frame, now half of that has gone to feeding, and the other half she still needs to fit in her eating, her showering, her cleaning of herself, and her sleeping, not to mention other things around the house. So possibly start talking now so it's not so much of a shock once baby comes home, and start having some open communication about who might take on what job. It might not be forever, it might just be for the first initial weeks, months after baby's born until things start to settle down. Because babies don't stick to a planned time schedule. Things will be thrown up and down, and you just need to work with it as you go through it. But having a little bit of a plan up your sleeve on how your daily life and your weekly life might look might just curb a little bit of that anxiety that the mum might be thinking, how am I actually going to achieve all this and look after a newborn baby at the same time? So start talking about that now. If you're still struggling in the home environment and establishing who's doing what, just remember that there are other resources out there to tap into for a little bit of extra support. So as we've mentioned, Tresillian, Karatani, your GP is often a great ear to talk to, who can discuss some strategies as well. Friends and families, I touched on friends and families bringing over a home cooked meal, but maybe it just might be that you need to ring mum or mother-in-law or your sister or best friend to come over and literally hold your baby and say, I just want to jump into the shower and I want to walk to the local cafe and grab a coffee and I'll be back. Mum needs a little bit of time out too, and sometimes having a koala clung to you all day long if they're really unsettled is very, very draining. So just a little bit of time out for mum can do a world of good for her mental health as well. So utilise those resources. Mothers group, as we've spoken about, try and get in touch with your local mothers group and do try and attend, because it's a great support network for mums to have like-minded new mums going through exactly what you're going through, sleep deprived at the same time, and you can combat off each other and talk about things that might be bothering you or that you're trying to understand. And highly likely they're also struggling as well, and everyone's going through it together. So don't sit at home and go through it alone. There's a lot of support out there for both mums and support people as well.